For Legal English podcast is now in session. On today's docket, introduction to the For Legal English podcast. I am Timothy Barrett, your host. This is episode 1 of the For Legal English podcast. Welcome to the For Legal English podcast. This is the show for lawyers, law students, and other professionals from all over the world who want to improve both their legal English and legal knowledge. Today, we're talking about the For Legal English podcast. I'm Timothy Barrett. I'm the instructor at the forlegalenglish.com website and for most of our courses, and I'm the host of this podcast. I'll talk a little bit about my background, about the For Legal English website, and this podcast. For the last several years, I've been living and working in Tbilisi, Georgia. I work at the law school where I teach legal English, of course, but also substantive law courses. Some of the courses I've taught are U.S. legal system, trade law, academic writing and legal writing, and artificial intelligence, human rights, and cyberspace. While at the law school, we developed an international business law master's program that's completely in English, and that focuses on that narrow field of law, which is a great experience for our students, both from Georgia and international students. For the last couple of years, I've been working on a project with USAID to teach some of the local judges legal English. So I've taught trial court and appellate court judges a similar program to what's available online at forlegalenglish.com. It was a great experience for the judges and for myself as well. It was a great experience to work kind of closely with a number of judges. The goal of this was to increase their legal English skills so they could take part in exchanges and conferences, trainings, things like that, where the language is English. Before moving to Tbilisi, I was a practicing lawyer in the United States. I started out as a prosecutor, and then I moved into civil practice. Before I became a lawyer, I was also a police officer with the New York Police Department, the largest police department in the country. Although there were aspects of practicing law that I really enjoyed, I felt like I wanted to do something completely different, and so that's how I ended up in Tbilisi, Georgia. The goal of the forlegalenglish.com website is to help improve your legal English. So we can do that in a few different ways. One, we offer courses. Another, we have a blog, and then we have this podcast. So let's talk about some of these in turn. Let's talk a little bit about the forlegalenglish.com website. Working on this during the time of the pandemic and the lockdowns, after teaching some classes strictly online, I thought that there must be a better way to do it. So I started to work on this website and create some courses online. You have some aspects of the traditional lecture. There are video lessons, for example, but the lessons are pretty short and followed by exercises. The exercises are a great way to test the student to make sure that they understood the material. And if they didn't, they can just go back and watch that short video. Maybe they missed something or misunderstood something. So it's easy to go back and rewatch it, especially if they understood after trying the exercises that they did miss some. And of course, if they sail through the exercises, then they can just go on to the next lesson. That's another great advantage. It's at your own pace. So if you have time, you can go through it very quickly, spend a lot of time to understand the material and move on. Or if you're a little bit busy, then you can put it to the side and then, maybe a few days later or the next week, you can go back to it and it'll still be there waiting for you. The courses that we have available now are Legal English Conversational. This is kind of a one-on-one tutoring. So we can meet virtually in a conference call and discuss whatever we want to talk about. It could be legal topics, legal fields that you are working on, or it could be supplementing the other courses, discussing some of the things that were brought up in those courses. Or maybe even law in the news, recent developments of law. We can discuss that. Our flagship course is the Elemental Legal English course. It teaches you the fundamentals. There's a lot more written on the website, so I'll encourage you to check that out if you're interested. But if you are looking to improve your legal English, that's a great way to do it. We also have Elemental Legal English Gold, which is the same course plus some tutoring, one-on-one tutoring and some small group webinars that will enhance or supplement the online course with some actual feedback, one-on-one or small group interaction. That's a great way to work on your conversational skills as well, or ask any questions, any problems that you've had. We're also working on intermediate legal English. This is almost live. We just got a little bit more work to do on it, but this is the second course after Elemental Legal English. So if you take Elemental Legal English, you want to continue, we'll have that ready soon at Intermediate Legal English. Another course that's still in the planning stage right now, but is legal writing course. I know I've talked to a lot of students that want some help with their legal writing. This will be a little bit different because it will have written assignments and we'll have some feedback, some review for each of those assignments. Each assignment will get some feedback and then the student will resubmit it, make some changes and then resubmit it. Often by revising the work is how we improve our writing. So that will be part of the course. That course is much more instructor intensive. I have to work very closely with the students in that course to give the feedback, and involved with that will be probably weekly or bi-weekly seminars. Probably do that as a cohort. So the other courses will start anytime you're ready, but the legal writing course will start at a specific date, and then we'll follow a specific schedule as we go through the course. Another course that we have is Elemental Business English, which focuses on a lot of the business terms. So if you're not a lawyer, you have somebody that's not a lawyer, but they are using professional English or business English, this is also a great course for that, where they learn a lot of these terms. A lot of them are in the Elemental Legal English, but these are the terms that are more focused on the business side rather than the law side. We also have a free course, Introduction to Legal English, and these are just several lessons from the Elemental Legal English course. So for students that are thinking about taking Elemental Legal English but want to try to dip their toes before they jump in, you can try the Intro to Legal English course. I'm confident if you take that and you complete those lessons, you'll be impressed and you will want to go on to take the full Elemental Legal English. Another thing that we have on the website is the blog. So we have different articles, blog posts that are posting. Our goal is to have 1 or 2, maybe even 3 articles every week. We want to be consistent, so we're trying to make sure that we have at least that 1 or 2, and like I said, possibly 3 in the future every week. And these could be about something about for legal English or our courses, or law in the news, the U.S. legal system, anything at all that's of interest, that might be of interest to someone, international person trying to improve their legal English skills, then please check out our blog. Another thing we're working on is to set up a community forum. Within the courses themselves, we have a pretty good comment system, so you can comment after a lesson or exercises and if you have questions, you can comment, get answers, and that's a pretty good system. We're working on kind of making a regular community forum just for the blog side of it as well, or maybe for members only, I'm not sure yet, but that's something that'll come down the pipeline. Now let's talk about the podcast. This is the first episode of the podcast. It's still pretty new. This is one way we want to add value to our students or our patrons or people who are just interested in our website. On this podcast, we will discuss some legal English issues. Some of the different themes that we will have are law in practice. How does the law work in the real world? Law in the news. So paying attention to news articles or news events and where law is implicated and kind of discussing those, breaking those down. Legal writing. As lawyers, our writing skills are very important. Improving those skills is time well spent. Landmark cases. Might look at some very famous cases that U.S. law students would be familiar with, or other cases that are very important for one reason or another, and kind of go through it, break it down, talk about those cases, what happened in that case, why did it break down this way, and what are the implications for the future from that case. Another aspect is legal movies. We've all seen lists of the top 10, the top 50 legal movies. We'll create our own for legal English top legal movies list. I have several movies identified that I'll start to go through. So I'll watch the movie and then kind of break it down for the listeners. And it'd be very interesting to hear your comments, your ideas on those too, especially as we go forward. So we'll start to build the top 50 legal movies or however many we get to. The podcast should be a great way to improve your legal English while you're enjoying yourself. listen to the podcast. You can relax. Hopefully it's a little bit entertaining, but at the same time, you're improving your legal English skills. Obviously, it's going to improve your listening skills. We'll discuss legal topics. And obviously, during that discussion, we will use legal terms. The more you hear these terms, the more you're familiar with these terms, the more you hear discussions about these legal topics, the easier it's going to be for you to take part in the discussion or even lead the discussion. So it's a great way to improve your skills. So that's it for the introduction. I hope that you're looking forward to listening more to the For Legal English podcast. The next one will come up soon. So if you haven't been to our website, please check it out, forlegalenglish.com, 4 with the number 4. You can check out our blog articles and our available courses. You can even go to the post for this episode and comment. If you have any questions or any topics that you want to see in the future podcast, then let us know. The For Legal English podcast is adjourned. Don't miss the next docket call. See you then.